Hello, everyone. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Christopher Nelson, host and creator of Words of War. It's Wow podcast. A little about me and why I decided to start this podcast. I want to be part of the change in our community since I was part of the destruction. So let me give a brief story of who I was and who I am now for the people watching that don't know me. I stand before you today not as a perfect person, not as someone with all the answers, but as someone who has lived through pain, made mistakes, and learned difficult lessons along the way. I grew up in a black community, Lincoln Heights, Ohio to be exact, where there was love, pride, culture, and resilience. But alongside those strengths were struggles that many people outside our neighborhoods never fully understand. Poverty, violence, broken systems, and trauma often live right next door to hope and opportunity. Inside my home, life was difficult. The place that was supposed to be my refuge often felt like a battlefield. Abuse became a language I learned before I understood what love was supposed to look like. Yelling, fear, anger, and pain became normal. As a child, you don't have the words to explain trauma. You just learn how to survive it. I learned to stay quiet. I learned to hide my feelings. I learned to expect pain. When children grow up in environments like that, they don't stop loving their families. They simply begin adapting to survive in circumstances they never chose. Eventually, home stopped feeling like home. So I did what many hurting young people do. I went looking for acceptance somewhere else. I found the streets. The streets welcomed me in ways I had been looking for my entire life. There was a sense of family, loyalty, respect, and protection that I desperately needed. For the first time, I felt seen. I felt like I belonged somewhere, but the streets have rules. They teach you that weakness is dangerous. They teach you that anger is strength. They teach you that respect is earned through fear. They teach you to respond before you think. And if you're not careful, survival becomes your identity. What began as searching for belonging slowly became something else. The decisions I made were influenced by pain I never addressed, anger I never healed from, and wounds I never understood. That's not an excuse for my actions. Every person is responsible for the choices they make. But understanding how someone arrives at a terrible decision is important if we ever want to help stop others from the same journey. Eventually, my life reached a moment that changed everything forever. A life was lost. And in that moment, multiple lives changed forever. There was the victim whose future ended. There was a family that lost someone they loved. There was my family who had to carry the pain and shame of my actions. And there was me facing consequences that will follow me for the rest of my life. Nothing prepares you for the weight of knowing that one decision can alter so many lives. Prison gave me something the streets never did: silence. For the first time in my life, there was nowhere to run from myself. No distractions, no reputation to protect, no image to maintain, just me and the truth. The truth about my childhood. the truth about my anger, the truth about my pain, the truth about the choices I made, I began to realize that while trauma may explain behavior, it does not erase responsibility. I have spent years blaming my circumstances, my environment, and my experiences for the man I have become. But healing began when I accepted ownership of my choices. Accountability is painful, but accountability is also where growth begins. I started reading, I started reflecting, I started asking difficult questions. Who was I beneath the anger? Who was I before survival became my identity? Who could I still become? I discovered that healing isn't about pretending the past never happened. Healing is learning how to carry the past without allowing it to define your future. Today, when I speak to young people, I don't tell them that I understand every struggle they face. I tell them I understand pain. I understand feeling invisible. I understand wanting respect. I understand believing the streets will protect you when the world has hurt you. But I also understand this. The streets collect debts that eventually come due. Sometimes the payment is freedom. Sometimes the payment is family. Sometimes the payment is your future. Sometimes the payment is a life. There are young people growing up today in homes filled with abuse and neighborhoods filled with violence who believe they have no options. They need mentors. They need opportunities. They need someone willing to see the pain behind the behavior. Most importantly, they need hope because hopeless people make desperate decisions. My story is not about making excuses for crime. My story is about showing what can happen when trauma goes untreated, when pain goes unheard, and when young people go unseen. Intervention matters. Community matters. Fathers definitely matter. Mothers matter. Teachers matter. Coaches matter. Neighbors matter. One conversation can change a life. One opportunity can redirect the future. One person believing in a child can alter an entire generation. If there is one thing I want people to take away from my story is this. Never assume you know the full story behind someone's struggle. Some people are fighting battles they never chose. Some people are carrying pain they never created. And some people are desperately searching for someone to show them another path. To the young person listening who feels trapped by your circumstances, your environment does not have to become your destiny. Your pain does not have to become your identity. And your past does not have to write the rest of your story. The choices you make today matter. The people you surround yourself with matter. The direction you walk matters. There is another way. There is always another way. As for me, I cannot change yesterday. I cannot undo the pain that was caused. I cannot rewrite the chapters that have already been written, but I can choose what I do with the pages that remain. I can speak. I can teach. I can mentor. I can be honest about my failures so someone else doesn't repeat them. If my story keeps even one young person from making the same mistakes I made, then my pain can serve a purpose. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me to share my truth. And thank you for believing that even after our worst decisions, growth, accountability, and change are still possible. Now, and if you would, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. This is Christopher Nelson, your host of Words of War. It's Wow podcast. Thank you, brothers and sisters.